Good evening, you guys. Happy Tuesday. It is Tuesday, and it is time for our Erase Weekly live stream. How are you guys? Thank you so much for hopping on here. We appreciate you guys so much taking time to educate yourself and learn about how to fight this nasty, evil crime. If you're new to our live streams, we try to come on here once a week, Tuesday evenings, and fill you in either what's on the news or what other piece of education we can add to your arsenal of information. We are very excited. We are gearing up to go to Summit Live next week and get to speak to an amazing amount of social influencers about this awful, evil world. And so that's what's coming up on the forefront. But for now, we wanted to share with you today. We shared a graphic. And I really wanted to go into more depth with that information. And it is the many faces of traffickers. And here's the reason. We say human trafficking and people get one image in their mind. We say pimp. Somebody gets a specific image in their mind. We say lot lizard, and if you're a trucker or you work in the truck stop industry, you get one certain idea in your mind. But there are generally overall categories. And again, nobody fits into a perfect category, but it really helps to separate for us to think, now wait a minute, there are different ways that this can happen. And so I just wanted to go over that with you. It helps in identifying what a victim might be going through. It helps us in for us to identify them. When they're saying, I'm not being trafficked, I'm choosing it. And then as they explain it, you go, oh, this is it. So the first one that I want to describe to you guys is the lover boy. The lover boy is the one that showers the kid with gift, or the teenager. I say kid, but I don't want you to think like a 5-year-old. I want you to think a victim, somebody who would get influenced by gifts. I'm above an age of a kid, and I would still get influenced by gifts. This is somebody who they might hang out at the mall and they see those teenagers that don't have a lot of supervision. Maybe there's the one teen that's off by herself and you can see she needs a little encouragement. You can see that she's a little bit off course, and it doesn't take much to just kind of show her attention, send her some text messages, DM her on Facebook or Instagram, comment on her pictures. There are just some very, very vulnerable people out there. And this, I say she, this can also be a he. This could be somebody who's exploring their sexuality. Maybe they're homosexual and they don't want to come out of the closet, and a trafficker sees that and they go cha-ching, like there is a market for that kid that doesn't have an outlet otherwise. So Loverboy comes in and starts showering with gifts and affection. And a lot of times the gifts and the affection go hand in hand, and the affection can be even more influential, because when these kids are at school and they don't have the reassurance and the bonding and all that sort of stuff that goes with it, then somebody else coming in, especially somebody who's a little bit older and can provide things. Maybe it's big things. Maybe it's an iPad. Maybe it's a small thing. Maybe it's bringing her a rose on Valentine's Day and she's never had it. That is Loverboy. Then Loverboy turns the tables and says, I need help paying for all these gifts that I've gotten you. I need you to do this for me. You care about me, right? We've bonded, right? We've established this. Now, this victim doesn't know exactly what love looks like and what love feels like. This is as close as they've gotten. And so the next thing you know, they're like, well, I guess if this is love, if this is what I'm supposed to do, I don't want to lose him. I don't want to lose the most important, loving, caring person I've ever met. I mean, I guess if I only have to do this, then it's not, it's not that big a deal. He loves me and I love him, and this is what I'll do for him. So these aren't people who are chained to a bed and being beaten. They think in their mind they're choosing it, and they don't know what it's like otherwise. I mean, you're thinking of somebody who they've never been connected to somebody. They've never felt that intense affection. So that's what they define as affection. And to think of losing that is to think of losing something huge in their life. So that's Loverboy. Loverboy plays into that role. The second role we're going to talk about is the peer pressure. This is really fascinating, and this is a scheme that we skip over a lot of time. Peer pressure. A lot of times, the people who are pimps, the people who are getting girls involved or other boys involved, are not necessarily the pimp. It's people who work for the pimp. So instead of the pimp going out and recruiting, the the head girl in the stable, is the one that recruits. She goes out and she finds this young girl, this innocent girl, this starry-eyed girl, and she's like, hey, why don't you come to the party with us? Hey, check out my new pair of jeans my boyfriend bought me. Hey, check out this. Hey, check out this. You know what? He got me an Apple Watch, but he got me another one. Why don't you just take it? Like, starry-eyed creation. So now this girl she's going to ditch her friends. Because, you know what? Her friends are nice, but they're not as cool as this girl. This girl has it going on. She gets to go to parties. She has material things. She has this boyfriend who's awesome. And maybe if she's really lucky, this girl's going to introduce her to her boyfriend. Like this innocent girl, not necessarily innocent, but this starry-eyed girl sees all this and says, wow, it'd be really cool to meet your boyfriend. So she meets the boyfriend, and boyfriend says, hey, cool, it's so awesome to meet you. I see she gave you that Apple Watch. You know how we earn those, right? You know how we get this done, right? I know you want to be a part of this. I'd love to have you be a part of this. Why don't you come out to my place Friday night and you can be a part of the party? And they get to the party, and now it is that kind of an event. Now the party is, I'm selling you online. The party is, you need to go do this. The party is whatever you're indebted to do. And the peer pressure is alive, because now a lot of times this girl or boy has disconnected himself from his friends, and he's or she's very much in this situation. There's just total peer pressure. Where is she gonna go? Where's he gonna go? So they're locked into this situation. And again, where do they turn? Do they raise their hand and like, excuse me, Mr. Police Officer, I made the choice to do all these things, but now I feel like I'm a victim. Yes, that is what they should do. Do they feel that way? No, they feel like they made the choice. They're wearing the Apple Watch. They ditched their friends. They enjoyed the party lifestyle, and now they're stuck. So that's number 2. Number 3 is the enabler. The enabler is a super easy target. Hey, I know you're underage and you want alcohol. I'll get that for you. That's, no worries. I got that for you. Oh, you want to try weed? I can get that. I can totally get that. Many times an enabler does have, either is a drug dealer or has access to drug dealing. And, oh, hey, you want to try speed? You want to try meth? I mean, it's not that big a deal. Like, you just try it once. Like, why don't you come over? Like, me and my friends are hanging out. We'll make sure we take really good care of you. It's not that big a deal. And then you get them addicted. And when they want more, all they have to do is, you know what? Here's the thing. I can't just keep giving it to you, but I have a really easy way for you to make the money so I can get you your drugs. All you got to do is go to these 3 appointments tonight. 3 appointments tonight, and you'll be set for the week. I can totally fend, and then it gets more appointments, less drugs, you get the addiction in there. That's the enabler. A lot of times we make it sound like this is an evil guy who, again, beats you up and jams a needle in your arm and you're addicted. No, there's creative process in this. It's a process, and it's very easy to spot for the pimp to see, like, oh, it's a teenager and they want to experiment. Wow, that makes them a really unique teenager. No, that makes them like half of the teenagers in this world. So that's the enabler. And then the last one we'll get to is the gorilla pimp. And the gorilla pimp is the one I think a lot of times we naturally think of. We think of the gorilla pimp. We think of the guy who goes out and abducts somebody and throws them in the back of a van and does force them to do drugs, or does beat them, or does do many violent, evil, forceful things. And yes, that does exist. That's out there, and it's evil, and it's heartbreaking, and it's gut-wrenching. And these are the kids that are trying to get out, but are not able to. A lot of times, another thing a gorilla pimp will use is the threat. If you try to get out, I will go get your sister, and I will bring her in here, and she will be doing the work you don't want to do. So the gorilla pimp, I don't want to go into too much detail because I think it is the stereotype that we have. That is the violent one. There's one more that I want to bring up that is not the stereotype of pimp, but when we talk about trafficking, we have to talk about the fact that there is the guardian pimp. The guardian pimp might be mom. It might be dad. It might be aunt. It might be uncle. It is the person who's physically, like legally responsible for an individual, for a child, for a teenager, and they are the ones trafficking her. They are the ones trafficking him. And those to me are some of the most heartbreaking, because a kid doesn't know any different. They don't know that they can say, excuse me, my mom is making me have sex with other guys so that we can get food. That's what they do, and they're not supposed to talk about it. And they don't know how else to put a roof over their own head. They don't want to go to DHS, or maybe they've been in foster care, and maybe it's happening in foster care, and they don't want to go back to the system. And so there are many ways that it happens. There are many faces of traffickers, but I'm really grateful that you guys listened through this, because when you do come in contact with someone and they try to reassure you, I'm not being trafficked. He's not a pimp. He's my boyfriend. He's not a pimp. It's my friend's boyfriend, and he just helps me. It's my choice. He just helps organize it. Oh, I'm not being trafficked. He just, like, I want to party on the weekends and he hooks me up, and it's my choice. Those are a lot of times the words, but when we realize the setup and the way that each of these works, we can realize, wait a minute. That's one style. That's the way it works. So thank you guys so much for joining here. I appreciate you guys so much taking time to educate yourself. If you have any questions for us, please make sure that you message us. We will be sure to get back to you, or we'll do a live stream about it. We will be back here next week. It might be a little bit later, because we will be traveling to California for Summit Live, which we are ridiculously excited and grateful for the opportunity to be there. And so I will see you guys next Tuesday. Bye, guys.